Hi everyone, it's Carrie. Hello, welcome to my channel if you're new here. Welcome back if you've been here before. So today guys is Vlogmas day 13. I know guys, right? We're only 2 weeks till Christmas. Anyway guys, I want to make a video today. We're actually in my kitchen. I want to make a video today that has been on my mind to do since I started my channel. I'm going to warn you guys. That is not a good one. If you guys are reading the title, you're not going to understand what this video is about. The title is How I Was Captured by the White Witch in Her Dominion. And no, guys, I'm not talking actual White Witch in Narnia. I'm using the Narnia reference because it makes it easier to live with every day. And it will make it easy for me to live this for the rest of my life. I know it sounds dramatic, guys, but I didn't get into the story yet. Anyway, guys, I use Narnian references because that just makes it easier for how to live. Anyway, guys, this story goes back to when I was 19 years old. Now, this story itself does not go back that far. The story goes back to when I was 24. Also, guys, I want to add a quick little disclaimer. I am changing names for legal suing reasons. And not just for that, I am changing names for the protection of my family because these people have threatened my family. But let me go back to explain, guys. So, guys, again, like I said, I can't even believe the Vlogmas Day 13, right? So, guys, when I was 24 years old, I'm going to start off the basic story. I'm a little bit nervous to say, guys, story. I fractured my ankle almost. As you guys know, that is how I became physically disabled. I tripped and fell over a broken pavement. And also, the first I hit my ankle when the pavement wasn't even. I hit my ankle, which was my good ankle, and I dislocated my ankle. And then when my body weight fell, my whole body weight nearly fractured my right ankle. Guys, what the heck does anything to do with your story, guys? What leads up to it? Anyway, my neighbors never really seen me outside for a while because I was on crutches and my cane was in here. I'm not going to bring my cane outside with me. So I was like, you know what? Whatever. I'm just going to go and just try to live my life. Anyway, guys, I had a neighbor woman who we were calling the White Witch for, like I said, I don't want anyone knowing who this woman is by first name basis because I fear for my 90-year-old father's life. But anyway, guys, okay. Anyway, plus the name she gave me as an alias, the name he gave me are both alias names. Anyway, guys, so one day I'm out with my dad shopping, and I am, like I said, I'm disabled now. I can't walk, and I'm on my crutches, and I did neighbor lady, so I get the car and go say hello to her. Now, guys, something in my gut told me not to get close to this woman. Guys, actually, I want to give my neighbor Carol, that actually is not a cover name. I want to give Carol some credit, guys, because Carol knew there was something wrong with this woman. She told me she could feel it. She knew there was something wrong with her. So, guys, I'm really nervous. So, guys, sorry. Anyway, Carol is almost old enough to be my mother. And she said she even told me she has a young daughter with disabilities. And she said, Carrie Ann, she goes, personally, honey, if you want to take her shopping, I would have no problem with that. But I don't want the White Witch to take my daughter shopping. Well, the little girl turned out she also liked Narnia and Harry Potter. So we were talking, yeah, I gotta look at Narnia too. But anyway, that has nothing to do with this story. And we used to play like little dolls. I used to play dolls with her daughter and all too, just because her mother was a sweet woman. But the mother plays a cue in how I met the White Witch. But anyway, so I'd play dolls with her, and she liked Monster High. So do I. Barbies, and that's actually our first round Monster High dolls. Anyway, guys, my neighbor, I probably gave out too much by giving out the daughter's name, but anyway, my neighbor was a really sweet lady. She has gone home to Aslan since then. I don't blame her. She was a really sweet woman, guys. She seen a neighbor woman who has, I don't even know what the White Witch has. She had a disability. The White Witch travels in a wheelchair. I'm dead serious, guys. In Narnia, she rides a sleigh. No, guys. The real White Witch does not ride in a sleigh. She rides in a wheelchair. And she goes around. My hair looks really weird today, guys, doesn't it? She goes around harassing and bullying disabled girls. And I'm like, what the heck? But guys, I didn't notice this. Anyway, we get talking. I met the White Witch when I was 19 years old. You know me, I'm watching Narnia. So I had to come outside. I didn't meet her. The White Witch's name that she uses is my best friend, one of my best friend's names. So like, that's my best friend name. She's cool, yeah, we get talking. And she talks to me, and she's like, oh, you Carrie, like King of Queens. I'm like, no, thanks. Everybody always says that to me, Carrie, the King of Queens. I'm like, no, close enough though. But she's like, I like you, we're gonna go shopping, and we're gonna hang out, and all guys. And then one day she said to me, it was her birthday, she wanted to go out to the mall. So, gonna go with me? And I was like, sure, why not? Like, I don't want to take it on you, I'm having a really bad day, hit my birthday. Guys, I'm sorry. I should have said this. This video is not for the faint of heart. We will be talking, so if you're a child, please go watch one of my doll videos. If you're a mature audience, you can watch, guys. We're going to talk about suicide and wanting to take my own life later on in the video. Anyway, guys. Anyway, eventually, I got friends with the White Witch. Present time in the story when I hurt my ankle. She tells me you need to see the person. Because my ankle injury, I've done that video before, and if you guys want, it's a completely different video. I will do it then. I said, well, I just want a job. She said, you know what, how about you come work with me at the church? My boss is always looking for new people. So I come in, I waited for her to get off my crutches. I didn't even use my cane because I didn't want to get made fun of. Really, guys, I needed a cane, and I wouldn't use it because I was afraid of getting bullied. All right, that's weird. But anyway, I went in, I applied for the job, suspecting never to hear back. Well, guys, one day I love this job too, guys. I was sewing up my pants. I don't want to give away the name of the church I worked at either for my family privacy reasons. I was sewing up one of my, I think the seams broke in one of my Hello Kitty pants. I love Hello Kitty. Guys, and I got a job offer, and they said, is this Carrie Ann? Don't want to say my last name. And here I said, sure. I would say Tuga, but that isn't my real name. Tuga, and I was like, yeah. They said, we would need some help. You did apply for a job. I said, yes, I did. They said, can you come in tomorrow? I was like, absolutely, I can. Yes, I can absolutely come over. My guys, I'm smiling because I love that job so much. I had to give it up. Anyway, guys, I came in the next day. They're introducing me to everybody. Now, most people I work with are special needs and disabled. I volunteered in the church. And when they said, they said, we noticed that you put down on your job application, which I don't think they're allowed to ask you this, if you're disabled, and you checked yes. I said, oh, yes. I said, I just left my cane at home. I won't use it. And she went, I'm so sorry. I said, well, it's okay. I'm trying to hurt my ankle, blah. Anyway, she introduces me to the White Witch. I'm like, I already know her. We're neighbors. And she's like, oh, yeah. Anyway, guys, this woman pretended to be my friend. And the reason I call her the White Witch is I don't want to lighten my story in any way or make it funny. If anyone laughing at me or making fun of me, guys. But in Narnia, the White Witch befriends Edmund. She gives Edmund Turkish delight and chocolate. The same thing happened to me, except it was cookies and hot chocolate. It wasn't Turkish delight and hot chocolate. It was cookies and hot chocolate. Now, guys, you guys will know about me. I'm really nervous telling you, so I'm shaking a little bit. Guys, I was raised by two disabled parents. So my mom and dad always taught me never take candy from a stranger. I think that is what C.S. Lewis meant in the Narnia books. But this story has nothing to do, unfortunately, with Narnia. And guys, I go there, and there's this guy I instantly meet, and I don't like him. And I'm like, I don't like him. Why don't I like this guy? And she's like, oh, he's a cute boy. And I'm like, I don't like him. Anyway, he starts talking about his ex-girlfriend, and I'm like, I don't care about this. I don't want to hear about you or your ex-girlfriend. So I was talking, I was in the army. I was a cook. And I'm like, okay, dude. We're going to let Dominion Boy because the name he gave me is not his real name. Guys, actually, I'm a little shaky while telling this story because this is a story I've been telling you guys for so long. And I know I don't want to say my real boyfriend's name. For the record, guys, my boyfriend has no clue about this story. I'm making this video so that he is aware of this story because I don't want him to realize that my weird patterns don't come from nowhere. Anyway, guys, when we start meeting up, I don't like this guy. He's just something really weird about him. Anyway, a kid gets shot in my neighborhood. Yes, guys. And this is where the story takes. Really, I want to hold both hands. I'm shaking a little too much, guys. It takes too much of a toll on me. So I decided to go to the candlelight vigil with another neighbor lady who I won't be saying. She's almost like the Aslan in the story where she tries to defend us. Anywho, we are at a candlelight vigil, and this is big. This story. I meet the dead boy's brother, and there's an instant connection. Guys, when I tell you, I felt something I barely felt before in my life when I looked at this man. I'm gonna call him Gavin's brother for the safetyness of me and for me, and I'm a little shaky. That's right. It's nothing to do with Gavin's brother. He was very nice. He kept telling me how pretty I was, and he was smiling, giggling, and laughing. Guys, we were at a candlelight vigil because his brother got shot. He's smiling, giggling, and laughing at me, and I'm like, okay, it's actually a little cold here too. I can't go to the other room because the other room is dark. Who else? What covering did I come out with for him? I don't think there's one. I never came up with one. I'm not gonna say his name on here, and I'm like, okay. He's like, he looks at me and says, "You want to go home with me?" I knew what he meant, but I was gonna pretend like I don't know what you mean. I'm like, what? He's like, "Do you want to come home with me?" Remember, this is not the Dominion boy. I'm like, no. Are you sure? It would make a good couple. Anyway, guys, this is a big significant part of the relationship story. Well, I don't know him. I'm not going home with him. Anyway, guys, it's getting really cold in here. Anyway, guys, a few months, about a month passes, and I meet up with that first guy we called the Minion Boy, who I thought was weird. He actually is a drug addict, an alcoholic, a junkie, and I don't like doing more junkie on people, guys, but he is a drug addict, an alcoholic, and a drug dealer. Guys, I didn't know it. The White Witch introduces me to him. I'm like, I really don't like him. By the way, guys, at the time, I think my boyfriend knows this. I used to like somebody else, a different neighbor guy, and I don't want. I told my ex, my current does know about the ex. He does know he was abusive. He doesn't know the whole story. Anywho, he finds out my boyfriend at the time together. He asked me on date. And the White Witch is like, "Oh, he doesn't like you. He doesn't think you're pretty. You're fat." She starts to pick at little details about me that I don't get, like my hair, my shoes, my clothes, my eyes. And I overheard the Dominion Boy and the White Witch talking, and I used to see him as the Edmund in the story. No, guys, I was the Edmund of the story. Because, like I said, if you want to compare some Narnian characters, I would say he was the Edmund. He went around with the White Witch, and he helped her do problems that helped her hurt people. Now, guys, let me clarify one thing about Narnia. Edmund never helped the White Witch hurt people. He was not a bad character. He was manipulated. He was abused. I think she sexually abused him, because C.S. Lewis didn't put that in the story. Well, that's where me and Edmund's stories change. Anyway, guys, everybody, I see, why do I sympathize with Edmund in Narnia? Guys, it's because I am Edmund. Except my White Witch just wanted to sacrifice me on the stone table and let my blood be there and let the stone table crack with my body on it. That would be fine compared to this. Anyway, guys, I started dating this freak, not knowing he was a freak, guys. He tells me, "Oh yeah, I have a girlfriend." He starts talking X-rated stuff to me. And I'm sitting there thinking, guys, at the time, I'm not even going to bother cover naming this because this is just too much, but it's a very Narnian name. At the time, guys, I think I was subject to the White Witch and the Dominion Boy because of Peter. So thank you, Peter, if you're watching this video. And guys, there was a guy back in the day that I liked named Peter. And no, I'm not talking Narnian talk. It just happens to be the guy's name that I liked. And honey, I know you're watching this video. To my boyfriend, I know you're watching this video. But Peter's a long time ago. I'm over Peter. Like, I'm fresh out over Peter. I like Peter for like 3 months. Anywho, please, baby, don't bring up Peter when you fight with me. No, we don't fight, guys. Actually, me and my boyfriend don't fight. We have a great relationship. Anywho, back to the White Witch story. But guys, I say that when we fight, not the real because we haven't fought yet, but couples to eventually fight. But anyway, guys, I'm in a healthy relationship now. Okay, back to this. Anyway, guys, my boyfriend at the time, whatever you'd call him, he found out about Peter. I flipped his lid. On the first date, he was asking me inappropriate questions. He asked me how many times me and Peter. I don't think on YouTube terms. I'm allowed to say the questions he asked me. How many times me and Peter ... Anyway, guys, I had a cough. I didn't want to do on camera. Anyway, guys, he began to ask me how many times me and Peter were. I don't even know if I'm allowed to use the word in here. How many times I kissed him, how old I was when I met Peter. That is really in its sexual nature. And guys, there was a man named Jack. I've told you guys about Jack before. I used to have a crush on him. The White Witch told him about Jack, and he confronted me about Jack on our first date. Same thing. How many times did you and Jack ... How many times, and how old were you when you met Jack? Let me tell you guys for the record, this is getting very TMI. I never even kissed Peter. The guy was on drugs. And I never even kissed Jack. The guy's on drugs. Okay. I'm in healthy relationship now. Okay, back to this. Anyway. And then, guys, you guys know about, I don't want to say his actual name. What's his exact name? Gavin's brother. He brings up, I did come up with a camera name for him. Did I? Anyway, Gavin's brother. And he said to me on a second date, we went to the mall, we went to the movies, we went to see the movie, A Dog's Purpose. A big KJ Apple fan. It's great. He says to me on the second date, can I ask you a question? I said, sure, yeah. He said, did you and Gavin's brother hook up that night? And I went, what? He said, I always call him Spencer when I tell the story for clarity reasons, natural name. He said, did you and Spencer have woohoo? And if you did, I think I had a right to know before I ask you out. He's like, I have 2 questions to ask you. And I was like, what? He said, one depends on the other one's a yes or no question. And I said, what is it? He said, did you and Spencer hook up? Guys, he hugged me. I will admit that I got a little too excited for that part. I mean, I liked it. Spencer was a gorgeous man. Let me just say it. Spencer was a gorgeous man. But you know what, guys? Who's saying this? Spencer is nowhere near as good looking as the man I am with currently. So I was like, Spencer's all right. He said, well, that's not the answer to the question. Did you, guys are all adults here. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, no, why? He said, good, because I have a second question to ask you. I said, what is it? He said, well, if you didn't woohoo with him, would you like to be my girlfriend permanently? And I was like, yeah, I guess so. I mean, guys, red flag, the young, innocent girl. I wasn't seeing the catches with this guy. Anyway, guys, my friends compared him to Norman Bates. We went out on the bus, guys, and he knew I like actors and singers and movie stars. Anyway, guys, we're all on a date, and he starts screaming on the bus. We went to like I said, we went to see the movie The Dog's Purpose, and he knew I had a huge crush on actor KJ Apa. Honey, if you're watching this, don't worry, KJ's married. Anyway, and he started screaming that KJ's a fraud. KJ used his connection with Cole and Dylan Sprouse to get popular for himself. If you guys don't know who KJ App is, he's friends with Cole Sprouse. They both play in Riverdale together. Anyway, just thinking about Cole Sprouse makes me smile. The story's very sick. I'm going to move along. Guys, he had his first flip out. Now, guys, before I get in any relationship with anybody, I normally let them know I have hypoglycemia. If you guys don't know, please pop by. I see that for any of my other videos. I was given a blood transfusion at birth almost that was tainted and had diabetic blood. I turned at the age of 3 in a coma. So if I know the difference, guys, I turned at the age of 3 in a coma. when I woke up hypoglycemic. So I warned any potential partner I have that I have diabetes. I also warn them that I have nystagmus because I don't want you. It's your choice if you're gonna date me. I already told my current boyfriend. He knows that I'm vision impaired and I'm almost legally blind. I tell you that so that you don't feel like whoever dates me does not feel like you are being lied to. You deserve to have a right to have a special needs. Honey, nowadays have a disabled girlfriend. That's not my choice to take away from you. That's your choice. It's your decision. Anyway, guys, it turns out the White Witch Dominion boy had bipolar. And he never told me, and he would have bipolar fits while out with me. Guys, this is when the story's going to get a little graphic. We were out one day, and he starts touching himself. Yes, guys, on a date with me. Because they would say, why didn't you get away from him, Carrie Ann? Why the heck were you being his victim for so long and hers? Anyway, guys, one day he says to me, and then the White Witch turns around and says to me one day and says, your hair is way too long, guys. My hair used to be down on my tailbone. How about you consider cutting that? So I thought, well, maybe I can cut a few inches off. Why not, right? I did. He says to me on our third date, was, you cut your hair. It looks nice. I'm like, well, yeah, because your girlfriend keeps antagonizing me too. By the way, guys, the White Witch and her Dominion boy were having woohoo the entire time together. They were a sexual couple, and I was so stupid that I didn't know it. Anyway, guys, this video is getting too long. A lot more discussed. Anyway, guys, so one day, the White Witch starts asking me X-rated questions that I would not ask a grown. Just because I'm legally blind almost, it does not mean that you can ask me this kind of question. Anyway, when we found out I was legally blind, she was actually with me, almost legally blind. She wanted to go into the doctor's office with me. Now, guys, my doctor discussed with her my situation with my eyes and how he said I have no scar tissue in my left eye. But I think that was against the law. Anywho, she knew I was legally blind. And she had almost legally blind. I'm not legally blind yet, guys. I'm on the crisp of it. Anyway, she told the Dominion boy, and he said to me, she was with me when I picked up my glasses. She wanted me to go to a different pair of glasses, but the pair that I wanted. So I went with my dad to go with me to pick them out. I wanted to make sure drops from my eyes. Very controlling. Anyway, my dad thought she was actually a nice woman. Guys, you want to hear a creepy thing? When I was 6 years old, I was playing with my animals. Because I used to have this big, beautiful dollhouse I wanted preschool. I was playing in it with my two toys, Nozzle and Horns, my two cows. And I started crying one day. Guys, my mother knew instantly something was wrong. I wasn't a crier. I was a happy kid. I never cried. I was crying, talking about my new stepmother. Mom went, what? I said, Mommy, you don't understand. When I'm big, my stepmother tries to cut my hair. My stepmother tries to turn me into a boy. I'm unhappy. I don't want to live with her anymore. She goes, what stepmother, honey? Guys, mind you, my mother was sick my whole life. Sick. What do you mean? I said, when Daddy's new wife, she's evil. She's evil. She wants to cut my hair. Guys, hold on. Am I zooming in or out? Anyway, guys, I tell my mother how Daddy's new wife wants to basically turn me into a boy. I'm crying. I'm carrying on. I'm like, I don't want to be a boy. I don't want to live this lifestyle anymore. I'm 6 years old, guys. I don't want to do what she wants me to do. My mother reached for me and said, honey, if this ever comes to pass, your father will have her butt in divorce court so fast. She said, where am I at? I look at her and go, Aslan's country, which I say heaven, but I said Aslan, I said heaven, I like to use the word Aslan's country. She went, I'm in Aslan's country. How'd I get there? I looked at my mother and said, you die of a massive heart attack and a stroke before I'm born, before I'm grown up. She went, what? No, honey, no, I don't. Anyway, guys, it exactly played out exactly like that. The White Witch tried to cut my hair. Actually, she wanted me to shave my head. She wanted to have my hips shaved down. Guys, don't know, I'm 5 foot a half an inch. You probably can't see that. I have long hair almost to my waist. I have wide hips. I have big breasts. She actually was talking to a surgeon about having somebody's hips shaved down. Now, guys, I wouldn't think that would be allowed. I would think a doctor would never allow a patient to talk to you, someone talk on behalf of you to them. Well, she found something sick enough. She said she wanted to have my hips shaved down and my breasts taken off. Guys, I'm naturally very big breasts. And she wanted to have my breasts taken off. And she said, well, maybe mother would just give you a hysterectomy too. And I flipped the heck out. And then I started crying, carrying on, telling my dad if she don't cut my hair, she said she was going to kill my father. Also, guys, let me tell you that her little buddy was molesting me. He began to touch me. I did not want to be touched. Guys, to this day, that guy is lucky that I don't report him for attempted rape. And this is why, ladies, I always say, if you're not sure, don't go back home with him. Don't go to the mall with him. If you're not sure, never be alone with him. Anyway, me and the Dominion boy are walking around the mall, right? I kid you not, he did this, guys. We're sitting there, and he pulls out his member, I'm going to say, and started pleasuring himself right there in front of me. And then says, hey, you want to... I'm like, what the are you doing? Guys, I couldn't get away from this group. Anyway, another time he comes up behind me and starts touching my rear end. Guys, I don't like being touched by him. No, I have no problem with intimacy. I just don't want to be touched by him. And then one day I'm sitting there and he reaches over and he grabs my breast. I'm like, I don't like when you do that, Dominion boy. Another time he grabs my thigh. I'm like, don't do that. The problem is, guys, like I said, Miss will say, well, why were you with him if you didn't like to be touched? Well, here's the thing, guys. I was very much already starting to become afraid of him. I'm afraid of nobody, but I'm afraid of these two. Anyway, I would try and get out of the relationship, but you couldn't. He kept calling, she kept calling. She'd come to my house and bang on my door. That's another thing. The White Witch, one time, my glasses broke. She came banging on my front door and woke my 90-year-old father. He was downstairs. He went down to the basement thing he was dreaming in. She banged on my door and tried to break my door in.